This is a detailed account of the brutal murder of Iryna Zarutska, a 23-year-old Ukrainian refugee woman who sought safety in the United States only to meet a tragic end. The incident occurred on August 22, 2025, on a light rail train in Charlotte, North Carolina. This script explores her life, the events of that fateful night, the perpetrator's background, the immediate aftermath, the legal proceedings, and the wider societal discussions it has sparked. All information is drawn from official statements, court documents, news reports from outlets such as the BBC, CNN, the New York Times, NBC News, and the U.S. Department of Justice, as well as family tributes and public records. The story is one of profound loss, highlighting issues of public safety, mental health, and justice system failures. Let's proceed chronologically. Iryna Zarutska was born in 2002 in Kyiv, Ukraine, a vibrant city that would later become synonymous with resilience amid conflict. From a young age, Iryna showed a creative spirit. She pursued studies in art and restoration at Synergy College in Kyiv, where she honed her skills in sculpting, painting, and designing clothing that reflected her unique and vibrant personality. Her family described her as a gifted and passionate artist who generously shared her talents, creating pieces for loved ones and even modeling for local makeup artists. Iryna Kozlovska, a Ukrainian makeup artist who worked with Iryna, posted on social media after her death, remembering her as a beautiful person inside and out, someone who fled war but carried light with her. Iryna's obituary, shared online by her family, emphasized her kindness and helpful nature. She loved assisting others, whether through babysitting or walking dogs in her new community. Life in Ukraine took a devastating turn on February 24, 2022, when Russia launched its full-scale invasion. Iryna, then 20 years old, endured the terror alongside her mother Anna, father Stanislav, sister Valeria, and brother Bogdan. They spent nights in cramped bomb shelters near their Kyiv apartment, the constant threat of airstrikes shattering any sense of normalcy. A family friend, speaking to local media, recalled Iryna's strength during those dark days. She remained supportive, helping those around her even as fear gripped the city. The family viewed a photo of themselves in the shelter as a turning point. It symbolized the life they no longer wanted for Iryna and her siblings. They decided to flee, motivated not by burdening others but by the hope of building a future free from war. In August 2022, Iryna arrived in the United States under the Uniting for Ukraine program, a humanitarian parole initiative that provided temporary protected status for those escaping the conflict. She came with her mother, sister, and brother, settling initially with her uncle and his wife in North Carolina. Her father stayed behind in Ukraine initially but joined later. The family chose Charlotte for its opportunities and the presence of relatives. Iryna quickly adapted, mastering English in a remarkably short time, a feat that spoke to her intelligence and determination. By 2023, she had enrolled at Rowan Cabarrus Community College, taking courses aimed at becoming a veterinary assistant, a career that aligned with her compassionate side. To support herself, she worked at Zapetti's Pizzeria, a local eatery where she was known for her reliability and warm demeanor. Co-workers remembered her in her uniform, khaki pants, dark shirt, and blonde hair neatly tucked under a hat, always smiling despite long shifts. Iryna's new life was flourishing. She had recently moved in with her partner, and their messages reflected a young woman thrilled about simple, everyday joys. Updates about work, plans for school, and dreams for the future. Her uncle, in an interview with People magazine, described her as very caring, someone who loved to help others and had fully embraced the American dream. She had also rekindled her artistic passions, creating clothing designs and sculptures that revealed her vibrant spirit. Social media posts from June 2025 show her posing with confidence, her long blonde hair framing a hopeful face. Friends in the Ukrainian community praised her resilience. She had escaped the horrors of war only to build a life filled with education, love, and contribution. At just 23, Iryna embodied the success story of so many refugees. Safe at last, pursuing passions, and giving back. But on the evening of August 22, 2025, that story ended in unimaginable violence. The Lynx Blue Line is a crucial lifeline for Charlotte's commuters, linking neighborhoods to downtown and beyond. On that Friday night, around 9:45 p.m., Iryna finished her shift at the pizzeria and boarded an outbound train at the Scalybark station. Surveillance footage from the Charlotte area transit system, later released to major media outlets, shows her entering the railcar. She appears tired from a long workday but composed, dressed in her uniform. The car is moderately filled with passengers quietly absorbed in their phones or resting. Iryna chooses an aisle seat in an empty row, directly in front of another passenger. She takes out her phone, perhaps texting her partner that she is on her way home, unaware of the danger just behind her. That passenger was DeJuan Brown Jr., a 34-year-old man in a bright sweatshirt and hoodie. He had boarded the train earlier without a valid ticket, according to authorities. For about 4 minutes, the footage shows a tense but ordinary calm before the tragedy unfolded. Iryna scrolling on her device, Brown sitting quietly. Then, without any verbal exchange, gesture, or provocation, Brown reaches into his pocket and retrieves a folding pocket knife. He stands abruptly, raises his arm high, and lunges forward. In a matter of seconds, he stabs Iryna 3 times, once fatally in the neck, severing her carotid artery, and twice more in vital areas. Blood sprays as she clutches her throat, collapsing into the aisle amid screams from other passengers. The attack is over almost as quickly as it began. Brown walks calmly to the other end of the car, removes his hoodie, and waits as the train approaches the next stop. The rail car erupts in chaos. Passengers rush to Iryna's aid, applying pressure to her wounds, but the injuries are catastrophic. She bleeds out rapidly, her life ebbing away on the floor of a train she trusted for safe passage. The train halts at the East/West Boulevard station around 9:55 p.m., and Brown exits onto the platform. Charlotte-Mecklenburg Police Department, CMPD, officers, responding to frantic 911 calls reporting an assault with a deadly weapon, arrest him immediately. Witnesses point him out, and he offers no resistance. Iryna is pronounced dead at the scene, her body still in the car. Brown is taken to a hospital for a minor laceration on his hand, possibly self-inflicted during the attack, before being booked on first-degree murder charges. To understand how this horror unfolded, one must examine DeCarlos Brown Jr.'s history, a litany of violence and untreated mental illness that, in the eyes of many, should have prevented him from being free. Born in 1991, Brown's criminal record spans over a decade, with at least 14 arrests documented in Mecklenburg County court files. His convictions include armed robbery, where he wielded a dangerous weapon, felony larceny, breaking and entering, and multiple assaults. In one notable case, he served a 5-year prison sentence for robbery with a dangerous weapon, released around 2020. But his record wasn't just criminal. It was marked by profound psychiatric instability. Court documents from earlier in 2025 reveal motions filed by his public defender questioning his competency to stand trial in an unrelated matter. Brown exhibited delusions, believing a man-made material controlled his every action, dictating when he ate, walked, or spoke. Psychiatric evaluations described episodes of erratic behavior, including threats and self-harm. Just weeks before the stabbing, he had been involved in incidents that highlighted his volatility. Despite this, the justice system repeatedly released him back into the community, often with minimal supervision. Critics, including Charlotte Mayer Lyles, later called this a tragic failure by the courts and magistrates, pointing to dropped charges, lenient sentencing, and inadequate mental health interventions. Brown's family echoed this, stating in media interviews that his mental health crises were not properly addressed, allowing him to slip through the cracks. The randomness of the attack, no prior interaction between Iryna and Brown, amplifies its brutality. Police investigations confirmed they were strangers. The stabbing appears motiveless, driven perhaps by Brown's untreated psychosis. CMPD has not released an official motive, but the unprovoked nature has fueled debates on transit safety. On August 31, 2025, a candlelight vigil in Charlotte honored Iryna and other victims of transit violence, drawing hundreds who lit candles and shared stories of her kindness. Her family, devastated, launched a GoFundMe that raised funds for funeral costs and support, describing how Iryna had quickly embraced her new life, only for it to be stolen. News of the murder spread rapidly after Katz released the graphic surveillance video on September 5, 2025. The footage, obtained by outlets like WBTV, showed the stabbing in stark detail, igniting national outrage. Social media amplified it, with influencers and commentators decrying the senselessness. Iryna's family learned of her death when she didn't arrive home. Her phone's location pinned at the station led them to the horrific confirmation. Her attorney stated they were devastated, emphasizing her role as a loving daughter and sister who had escaped war for this. Iryna Zarutska's story is a microcosm of broader struggles. The refugees' quest for peace, the failures of systems meant to protect, and the human cost of inaction. She survived bombs in Kiev only to die on a train in America, stabbed by a man society couldn't contain. Her death demands reflection, not just outrage, but reform in mental health care, judicial oversight, and transit safety. As her family mourns, the call for justice grows louder, ensuring Iryna's memory drives change. This concludes the account. Thank you for listening. Subscribe,